Yes, awesome. 7:17. Let's go into the KUAM News Zoom room now. We'll go ahead and start the morning. We've got just a bunch of guests this morning with a bunch of info that we need you to know about. And so let's get Department of Youth Affairs Director Melanie Brennan on the show. Melanie, I feel like we've had your whole family on the link.
That's true. That's true. I don't think you've met me yet, though.
No, we haven't. Yeah, and so here we are. The circle is complete. And so
Unfortunately, it is. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And of course, different circumstances with you coming on here as the director of DYA to kind of catch us up on some of the news that we've had some positives out of the agency, the
Right.
department. Right, Bree?
Right. Since the release came out yesterday, have there been any other employees that have tested positive, or even residents at the Department of Youth Affairs?
No, we have a total of 4. I have not heard of anything else. There's no pending results yet. We do have a test scheduled on Saturday, tomorrow, for one of the shifts. And so, and that particular shift does not have anyone that is currently showing symptoms either.
Right.
Okay.
Melanie, I know we just ran it on the news, maybe to start the show, but could you just give us an update on the status?
Sure.
How many staff have tested positive and where we are with it?
Oh, yeah, sure, certainly. So on Saturday, this past Saturday, one of the shift workers called the supervisor. He was due to start his shift and indicated that he would not be coming in. Later that same day, he tested positive. He had gone to his clinic and tested positive. I right away called Chima, my friend Chima, who I met while working at the QFAX, and I asked him, well, what should we do? He had been off. And so Chima counted the days, the infectious days. It's usually 2 days before symptoms show up. And so that particular individual had not been to work. The shifts are 3.5 days. So he was not overly concerned, but he did indicate to continue monitoring symptoms. And what I did was I looked at the temperatures and the wellness checks, and everyone seemed good. But then on Wednesday, we did have 2 additional positives, and that was through contact tracing. One from another shift, but that contact tracing was through family members, one at DYA. The second one was on shift with the first individual. And so that was concerning. And so on Wednesday, we did test the entire shift. And that was the result. The one most recently was the result. So there's 4 total.
How many are scheduled to be tested tomorrow that are on this shift?
So each shift has 10 individuals. 2 have already been tested, just out of just concern for themselves. They took the test. I myself took the test on Wednesday. I'm happy to report that I'm negative still. I'm getting better at taking the tests. I don't my body doesn't seize as much, and I think that it's important that the managers all, set a good example and take the test.
So then you have 8 scheduled to be tested tomorrow.
That's correct. 8.
So out of the officers that are on shift, the ones that test positive, do they have contact with the residents? I mean, what are their responsibilities?
Right. So all of the shift workers do have contact either in cottage homes or the dormitories. Luckily, we don't have any females in the female dormitory. It's just the males. And we have 4 clients that are currently in quarantine. Any new admission goes through a 14-day quarantine period where we monitor for symptoms and we measure their temperatures. The one individual that tested positive was actually in the operations room, and they didn't have that much.
I'm sorry, are you there, Melanie?
Yes, I am. Are you having problems with my audio?
No,
you're fine.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yes, they would have had contact. The first positive would have had contact. However, he didn't exhibit symptoms until he was already on his 3.5 days off, and he did not go to the clinic until the Saturday, the day that he was to report. So in terms of infection or being infectious, we think that was okay. And so the kids, we've been monitoring the kids, and like I said, they're completely fine. They don't have any symptoms as of yet.
But was there a need for them to be tested, or you're just monitoring?
We're monitoring right now. We are following the guidance of public health, and so it's not necessary at this time.
What are the age groups of those 4 clients that are in quarantine?
14 to 18.
And do you have a separate area designated as quarantine and then a separate area designated for isolation? Because I know DOC, they kind of have a strategy
Right.
where they separate clients.
Right. So the Department of Youth Affairs doesn't have a full-fledged infirmary like DOC. So early on, we knew that this could be catastrophic if transmission did occur at DYA. So what we did was we really worked with the current population. We worked with our stakeholders, the Guam Police Department, probation, and the court system, and even Child Protective Services to try and move kids out of the facility. And so initially in March, we had about 32 kids. We had 20 kids in the regular dormitory in the youth correctional facility and 12 kids in cottage home. Cottage homes today has only 3 kids. And the male unit, as I said, there's no females in the female unit, and the male unit has 11 in the general population and 4 in quarantine. So we were able to drill down on the number because we were so worried. And so we're still working with the smaller population of cottage homes, trying to get them into placement, into proper placement. But unfortunately, the remaining males in the dormitory at 15 will actually, are awaiting court hearings before any placement can be done.
Mm-hmm. Are the cottage homes at the DYA compound, or are they separate?
Right. So I don't know if you realize this, but with juvenile justice reform efforts, we've really minimized our population. We went from like 80 to 100 kids to 25 to 30 kids regularly. And so what that did was that emptied out one of the dormitories. And this dormitory happens to be on the compound, but it is not, the perimeter fence doesn't go around it. So it's more like a residential facility, and it's not a secure facility. It's staff secure. So it's monitored by our staff, but it's different from the youth correctional facility. And that is our interim cottage homes.
And so where were the 4 officers assigned? To the correctional facility side or the cottage homes?
They were assigned to the correctional facility.
All 4?
All 4. Different shifts.
Okay.
Yeah. Have you, and I know with a lot of these clients, they're in sometimes different stages of court cases or things like that. Have any parents or guardians reached out to the agency to kind of say, hey, what's going on?
So since March, we had instituted a kind of a shelter in place. And so visitations were suspended. In-person direct visitations were suspended, but we were able to stand up some enhanced video visitations, and that's what we're doing. We do allow the kids, we prompt them to call family at least twice a day. Have parents reached out to us during this time? A couple, but not many.
Wow.
How concerned are you, though, in having you have these 4 officers that test positive? You're still waiting for the other officers to get tested. I mean, are you ready to handle? I mean, no one wants it to occur, but an outbreak at the correctional facility.
I'm very concerned. Obviously, initially, before we all truly understood how bad the pandemic was, we did put in place certain measures to mitigate these risks. We have a hand washing station right outside. We constantly disinfect. In fact, after the first positive, Guam Fire helped us and they decontaminated the building. We have, good ties with public health, so we're always communicating with them. Obviously, I'm worried, especially with the community numbers, but we also have a contingency plan. I've already spoken with the Department of Corrections. FEMA suggests that if a pandemic were to occur in a congregate facility, that you could expect like 40% of your staff to be out for at least 2 weeks, just depending on when they get symptoms. And so I'm working with Joe Carbolito. If we do need to ask for, or augment our staff, he is prepared to help us. But additionally, what we did was, because we were in a lockdown mode for quite some time, we had people out. We had other officers that were assisting with the QFAX. And so we've brought them back in. I have people on transport that, there's so much restriction of movement that I really don't need people in transport. So I've moved them in to cover down on the people that are currently on leave.
Okay. But right now you haven't need to make the ask to DOC, so you guys are all right for now.
We're all right now, but I did put out that call just to let him know.
Right. Right. Well, thank you, Melanie and Bree. Anything else?
No, thanks, Melanie. Hope you guys everything works out for you guys.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
The accessibility and it sounded pretty confident with the situation over there. So thank you, Melanie.
And we'll check back in with you, I guess, over the weekend or Monday to make sure everything's all right as you wait for the results.
Thank you so much. Take
Be
care.
safe.
Take care.
Be safe. What do we have in the virtual Zoom room?
Jace?
Jason.
I brought pretzels.
Jason brought pretzels. Wow, that's embarrassing. Pretzels, Jay. We have a reputation to uphold here. We're gonna take a really quick break, and we're coming back.
I got virtual Rischetti.
Virtual Rischetti. There you go. All right, we're trying to choke our guests. Nice. We're
But
coming.
we charge for the water.
Yeah. We're coming back with our two favorite ladies over the Department of Public Health and Social Services, Annette